Triple kill.
So I'm very jealous that you've got to check out a lot of cool games today that I haven't checked out.
Real Joe. I know exactly what you're about to bring up.
But I played this game,
Oh, okay.
Black Ops 3.
Oh, Black Ops 3.
And-
Curveball.
You never know. Black Ops 3.
Cool.
And this is a game that I actually haven't yet to see the single player demo that they showed at the stage.
Here's my footage. You can see me get wrecked.
But it seems like multiplayer.
I'm excited for
yes.
Multiplayer, I'm very excited about. So this is you playing multiplayer and getting your ass handed to you? Great.
Okay.
So I really dug multiplayer, but it sounds like single player people are not really digging, and it's interesting that there's this kind of like two sides to this game. That's like maybe the 4-person co-op is not necessarily where a lot of people want this direction to go. Mm-hmm. But after playing a lot of Advanced Warfare and now going into Black Ops 3, there are so many things. I mean, the awesome replay videos that they are showing in gameplay cuts for this game are unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. It is.
There's one particularly on this map actually that we're looking at right now where a guy goes running into the cave, kills a guy with one weapon, machine gun guns another guy with another weapon, goes running to jump on the wall outside of the waterfall and gets almost shot with the guy who sneaks up behind him, but then uses like a blink ability, which is like kind of from Overwatch, where you can just like zip, like rewind like 3 seconds, and then like right when he gets shot, rewinds behind the guy and headshots him with like a pistol.
When I was done, I immediately texted Ben and I said, Black Ops 3 is Overwatch because that is the vibe I took away from this game. There are 9 specialist classes. So a class now is a specialist, and they all have a persona. They all have a backstory. They all have a lore. You care about these characters already.
What did you say?
And I believe we checked out 4 at the event. Right. And I checked out 4. So how many of these characters were available?
We saw 6.
Okay, so I saw the guy with the spikes.
Who's straight up Titanfall Titan.
Yeah, just boom. Yeah.
Yes.
Or Destiny, you mean?
Destiny, yeah.
Correct. He's got like the ground pound.
Both
so
of
just
those
classic.
games
So
are
like
in this game.
King of the Hill, brutal. Any mode where it's just like, oh, let's all hover here and protect ourselves. You just come flying in over a building and funk.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning before, a lot of the not to talk for you, Huber, but I'm just curious if like all this stuff still lines up. They have a specific weapon that you can pick, or they have an ability, but you can only pick one. Mm-hmm. When you're picking your loadout going into a match, like I want to pick that character, and then I want to pick his skill or her skill or their weapon. You have the archer, who's got like the big bow that you can wind up. It does more damage the longer you pull it. But of course, like a bow in Call of Duty is a little brutal because it's like a very fast-paced game.
That bow,
when it hits,
was love at first sight.
That's what I want to use the most.
I fell in love with this thing. I felt like Turok out there on the battlefield.
Turok.
The sound when this thing shoots and lands, it's got this Minority Report like shockwave sound gun vibe. Nails into him and then explodes. Their whole body explodes into bits and it kills people within range. It's just incredible. It's so satisfying.
When you hit, and
tough
it's just
to
tough
hit.
because you're cashing your chips on this one giant move. So it's really good if you know like these guys are coming from this one specific direction. I'm not going to get flanked. Yeah. Good character to have. I'm trying to remember the 4th character. The 3rd character is one I couldn't stop playing as, which was the robot who has this like huge Gatling gun. It's just fun to own, especially when people are jumping and it's just like you're not hitting the ground. Okay, you're dead. Mm-hmm. And then so they got the bow. She was the stealth lady. Her skills were like to scan, so she could like sense the environment. Yep. The crazy guy with the ground spikes, the robot. What are the other 3?
There was... I have the names right here. Oh, my phone's not here. I forget his name. I think it was like Recon or something. He has a trap gun that was really good for the control point maps because when you got it, you put those on the control points, and it was like mines. People would walk over them, except it was like nano machine bees that just swarm all over the guy. That was really satisfying. And then there was Prophet, who has like a Killzone style electric shock gun that it's like chain lightning. So it chains to people.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Do you know why Treyarch has become my favorite Call of Duty studio?
Just going for it.
They're not afraid to get weird.
Yeah,
they don't
cool.
They don't take themselves too seriously, and I think that's so important for a game.
For me to go into this event after Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII, and Shenmue were announced, I'm saying, okay, I'm playing another Call of Duty. Obviously not going in cynical at all. It's like, cool, get to play Call of Duty, but it's like,
You just had your dreams come true.
Yeah,
right.
I'm like, oh, that it's just going to be another Call of Duty. It blew me away. Then there was the other character. It was I forget her name, but she was like an Asian assassin.
And she's got the blink, I think. Like she's got the one that you can.
Yeah, the blink and this one-shot Magnum revolver, like John Marston style.
Yeah. Which again, Destiny inspired possibly. The Hunter's got his pistol.
Yeah.
But the difference I think is that in Destiny you charge it up once and then you have as many shots as you can before it runs out. You just have 3, right? Just have 3 shots in Destiny?
It's ticking down time.
Yeah, usually you have 3 shots.
Yeah, 3 shots or the time limit.
But it really focuses on the time limit. So like a lot of those abilities, there's different costs, and like the one with her was that it was like a clock. So like if you trigger that at the right moment, you can take out a ton of different people with this gun. Whereas like Destiny felt a little more limited. But how do you feel about that? How do you feel about a shooter like Destiny? You're like, what about this mode? And Call of Duty's like, thank you. It is the same genre, and they are, it is just like a fundamental skill, that's being added to the genre that they're, being inspired by or maybe potentially taking to the next level. Is that uninspiring when you see something like that happen, or does it just make sense? Like, why wouldn't you? This is really exciting to have classes in this game and having the skills and new abilities and weapons.
I mean, we're getting a new Call of Duty game every single year, right?
Yeah.
So I think the worst thing they could do is stick to their guns, right? I think it's encouraging, and it fills me with hope that they're looking to other games. They're looking to other sources of inspiration. They're seeing what works and trying to put it into their game.
There was a point when Assassin's Creed was one of my favorite franchises, and Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed are in the same camp. They're doing the same thing. You get one every single year. It feels like it's less than a year, because by the time you're done playing it and the next one comes out, it's like 9-10 months. Yet each Call of Duty, like Advanced Warfare was fantastic, and now Black Ops 3 it feels fresh somehow. Assassin's Creed, I try to get excited for. Call of Duty, they just keep surprising me.
So his name is escaping me right now, but the guy who came out on stage during the PlayStation conference to introduce the multiplayer, that guy's hilarious. That guy, when I went to the demo event before, was just like, he would not, like, he was just so brutally honest.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is one of the best things we really appreciate about E3. We just the Divinity Original Sin guys on stage, and like they were pretty upfront about like designing their game and the pluses and minuses.
The trailer guy reminds me of Huber in a lot of ways. Like when he's on stage, you can tell he's legitimately excited to talk about how a shotgun kills people. I like those.
Shotgun.
I like those kind of people.
Huber likes to describe these things, but I mean, incredibly unapologetic about what they did, because you can get a set. Like on one hand, I'm like, whoa, this guy's not budging on the creative decisions he's made going into this game. But at the same time, I definitely get the vibe like you care so much about balance. You care, like, this seems so important to you to not only you're representing the Call of Duty franchise, but you're representing your studio, and a Call of Duty multiplayer isn't something to take for granted. It's and it's really interesting with the to completely divert back to what we were talking about before, but like with the different classes and the different abilities work really well. Like we're talking about King of the Hill works really well for those ground spikes.
Exactly.
You want to get people collected. Yeah. Whereas there were lots of like cool sprinting abilities that you can use for, we're watching Kill Confirmed right now.
Yeah. And
it's really great to have that little extra boost or one ability that you can just like zap in there, grab it, and get out.
That's what I want to talk about, is how much is going on. I feel like so many Call of Duties recently were, you have the quickest hands, let's go, shoot, see him, shoot him, kill him, done. This has a momentum meter, first of all, which was the biggest thing. So you have your power gauge, which depletes when you double jump and power slide. So you can chain so many moves together. You can run on the wall, power slide, double jump. You can run on the wall and then double jump back and run the other way. You can cue your slide while you're in the air, so you have that queued up already.
This almost sounds like a fighting game to me, where you're like you're
It felt
buffering
like
animations,
that.
where you're kind of chaining together combos.
Yeah, so you're chaining all that. You have your kill streaks, which is standard, which has always been there. There's a ton of those. And now you have your Destiny-style super meter, which you can save and bank and keep until you want to use it, or just burn it immediately.
And it has that risk-reward system where, like, you don't want to wait until threat comes at you and then you trigger it because it might be too late. But you don't want to trigger it when there's nobody around, because you'd be on the completely other side of like where the action's at, and then you just wasted that ability. Yeah, it was like I mentioned. I dug the robot. I like to play with that. You mentioned the bow guy, and that seems like somebody, a character you want to get your hands on, Ben, when you eventually play the game. And it sounds like there's 3 more. So we got 9 total characters. There's 3 more. So we've seen 6 now. 3 more characters.
The weapon customization was big. It's pretty much unlimited.
Yeah.
It's make your dream gun, like paint wise.
Well,
you can do anything. There's
I'm a big fan of aesthetics
layers.
over anything, and I dug that every single part in the game, has 2 versions purely aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, I'm adding this, suppressor onto my thing, and it's like, you want the fat suppressor, or you want the little tiny one, And
Yeah.
like, oh, I kind of like that. Yeah, make it pink, sure. I'm like,
some of them too, though. It was like different kinds of grips. One grip would be you aim down the sights faster. Another one was less recoil when aiming down the sights. So there's just so much customization. You're leveling up your main profile, your weapons, and your classes. There's just a ton of stuff, and it felt somehow it felt fresh.
The question that I have for me is, I feel like I really love the customization, and I always love that. I feel like Treyarch especially has kind of like made you put your own identity into your like having the profile pictures, and now with the way you can make your gun look however you want. But to me, did you feel like all of the options were a bit overwhelming, and because there was so much, it kind of made all of it less meaningful? Like to me, I feel like Call of Duty got to a point where there was so much stuff that I was getting at the end of every single match that I just didn't care about anymore. I didn't feel like I was working up to anything.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to bring up start a war here, but the reason I always have preferred Battlefield over Call of Duty is because you have defined roles and every weapon is viable. So many times Call of Duty SMG, just run in, the fastest gun wins, the faster fire rate, the faster draw. There's no suppression, so big, heavy machine guns are almost pointless.
SMGs make that game not fun.
Yeah. I would like for if Call of Duty gets to a point where every single weapon is viable, sniping, shotguns, assault rifles, heavy machine guns, it would be in a better place. This seems like it's on the right track because of
the skills.
Class skill weapons.
So you got the guy with the faster weapon, but if you're not good at using your class, then I'm going to sneak up behind you, or I'm going to bring out my gigantic Gatling gun that just completely owns, or like you're going to turn a corner and get an arrow to the face, and all your friends around you are going to blow up. We still haven't played single player. I didn't get to play single player at the event that I went to. That was just multiplayer. I saw it played, much like we saw a demo of it today. So you saw how it's swapping between the 4 different characters. But it sounds like really like what we need to see about Call of Duty is how, what are the other single player missions look like? How does progression happen in the game? How do I unlock new stuff? How do I customize my character? Did it have any of that? Because I know we could if we all pick the robot, all the robots look the same.
Yeah,
in the multiplayer match. But they mentioned there's going to be customization.
Yeah. My biggest question is for you, Brad and Ben and Jones. For me, I'm saying, wow, this is great. Am I going to buy it? And if I do, am I going to play it longer than a few weeks? Like, no matter how good this game is, are you still going to buy it even though we have a Call of Duty every single year?
There was this weird thing that happened, right? Where Advanced Warfare came out, and it was well received.
Yeah.
It reviewed well. I think it was well received by the fans. It was definitely a step above Ghost.
Yes.
And I felt like it had no longevity at all.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of had its week in the sun, maybe even a month, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I feel like the community for Advanced Warfare isn't there. Have we truly reached the point of saturation? Like, regardless, as you said, of how good it is?
Yeah, Brad, if this game is incredible, would you buy it? Because Brad goes all the way back, Call of Duty 1, but is checked out as of Modern Warfare 3 probably.
No, before that.
Yeah, even before then, you were like, it
2
was
I
already
was
enough.
out.
Yeah, it was already enough for you.
I was
then.
done, yeah.
Now we're getting them every year. If this game is like 9 point something,
No, I won't play it. Well, I played the single player. I played the campaign if I did play it, but multiplayer,
But that's the interesting thing. You know, like they started with Kevin Spacey first and foremost going into Advanced Warfare. So we knew this story, whereas like we're kind of seeing these characters like, who is this guy? I don't really know. We're hearing voiceover in the trailers, like who's talking? Like we don't really have a lot of context to set up, you know, why we'd be really into the story and why this single player could possibly one up other campaigns in the past. Sounds like multiplayer is the real driving force going into Black Ops 3. Maybe they know it. Maybe that's why it had a better showing at E3. And maybe that's really why you played it and not the single player.
Hey,
yeah, maybe.
Team GT, 4-player co-op. Here we go again.
Yeah, no kidding.
You guys ready?
And when you know some of us might get our hands on other Black Ops 3 stuff throughout the week, so maybe we'll get a chance to actually play that single player and compare them. But I'm stoked that somebody else got to play Black Ops 3, and I'm stoked that you liked it because I liked it too. So
Super fun.
looking forward on killing you like these guys are behind
I
you,
know.
Huber.
Jeez. Massacre.
Well
Yeah,
done.
wrecked.
Hey, there's that pistol. There's that pistol. Do I use it? I probably die immediately. Oh, I think I get some kills here.
Waiting for
Yeah,
it.
there it is.
Nice.
There it is.
Wait,
John Marston style with
we're going
this
until he
thing.
dies. When he's gonna die.
There's
Wait,
another one.
oh.
Hey, got two.
Rough.
A for
Not
effort,
bad.
Huber. A for effort.